After they taken my AMA vital signs, I snuck back the nurses and boarded the elevator. When I got to 1F, I walked out of the outpatient clinic doors and walked outside of the hospital. My goal was the place that I've been told not long ago, the faraway B station, not the nearby A station. I wasn't that I wanted to escape or anything. At 7F or at home, none of us died anywhere else. That's what I've been told. At this B station, which this girl named Setsumi had apparently been to many times, that's why, at least just once, I wanted to see this place with my own eyes. It's not as if there's going to be a guard on duty. Even so, we were inhabitants of 7F, different from other inpatients. And thinking of vague maybes so early in the morning, I headed toward the station. My legs settled into a lazy gait as I glanced sidelong at the people commuting to school or work. After about 20 minutes of this, I arrived in front of the station, roughly 4 bus stops away when I calculated it out. Wow, there are a lot of people here, was my first impression of the B station. I stood out a bit because I was in pajamas, but I felt that if I could just buy a subway ticket, I'd be able to go anywhere, no question about it. I still had no idea why I've been told to go to the B station, not the A station. But it looked at it as if it would be easy to escape if I really wanted to. She must have come here many times herself. So why did she remain on 7F right now? The station is in the early morning. I stood there, thinking these thoughts as I watched the people rapidly passing me by. That night, after hours, after lights out, bored of manga and unable to sleep, I wandered through the hospital alone. Certainly, it wasn't supposed to be allowed after lights out, but we of 7F had a particular kind of liberty. So, in the presence of no light, in the pitch black stillness of the lounge, that was where I found her. Hey, have you been looking outside today? The darkness interior, she did answer me, but she continued to stare out the window as if she had not. I immediately launched into what had happened today. No, by the way, I went out to the station today. That be a station, just as you taught me.
So,
But her response did not change. I thought that she'd react with something because she'd been there before too. But now that I thought about it, did the fact that she was here mean that she had no intention of escaping in the first place?
私、もうすぐ帰れるの。
What? She opened her mouth abruptly and spoke as if she'd been right through me.
でも、次で3回目だから、もう会えないかもね。
Yeah, I guess. Probably what she was talking about was a temporary discharge from the hospital. She told me that nobody was discharged from 7F more than 3 times. Unlike the elderly, given the progress of our diseases, this meant all the more to young people like us. Her we may not see each other again was filled with that kind of meaning.
あなたはどちらを選ぶの？
Decided on?
どっちで死ぬつもりってこと？
When that word, death, came up so abruptly, I was a total loss for words. I don't know. Haven't thought about it yet.
そう。まだ1回目だもんね。
She murmured, looking desolate. Certainly, it wasn't as if I was going to exist here forever. Just like everyone else, I would be admitted and discharged, slowly grow weak, and someday I would have no choice in the end, here on 7F or at home surrounded by those fake smiles.
私は家は嫌。だけどここも嫌。
Then what would you do?
別にどうもしない。自力で歩けるうちにどこかに行くだけ。
Somewhere? You can't be this girl who was staying here on 7F when she could have escaped any time she wanted. When I thought of that, do you have any other place to go?
あなた、私を引き止めたいの？
What?
それとも一緒についてきたいの？
Well, no, that wasn't what I was thinking about.
じゃあ聞かないで。
She was staring out the window as she spoke, dispassionate, not looking at me once, the same as ever. But then, and just then, her usual expressionless face looked so very sad to me. I was a newcomer to 7F, just recently thought that the third discharge was the last. And she was a girl who soon was to be discharged for the second time. I still did not feel anything real about what was happening to me. But would I, too, come to wear such a face someday? The rain at Mountain twilight. Sometimes sleet, sometimes snow, always coming down. And I was sitting there watching TV in my usual place. 7F felt as devoid of people as if always had.
面白い。
Not completely boring. She walked to my side. Saying no more, she sat down in a chair next to me. And that was how we began watching TV on this very day as well. She was probably in the same boat as me. Nothing else to do, nothing we could do. I have never seen her respond to the TV before. Is something the matter?
別に。
Those were her usual words, but her response was anything but usual. After I looked at the screen, interested in anything that could move her soul, there were nature scenes being displayed on TV. Beautiful hills, dales burgeoning with trees and flowers, and a vast spread of white flowers in the mist. I remembered those flowers from somewhere. They looked very similar to a white flower that decorated the window sills. Could those be the same flowers? You know, the same as those over there. I pointed to the flowers by the window as I said this.
違う。
Huh? Really?
種類は同じだけど厳密に言えば違う。
She glanced at the flowers by the window for a second and then went back to gazing at the TV. She told me that they were different, but I couldn't see a distinction between the two. And it meant nothing to me whether flowers weren't the same or different. But what did mean something was this girl who usually never said a word more than she needed to. She was conversing in rare form today, which was why I decided to follow along. Do you happen to know a lot about them? Flowers, that is.
別に
Really? But I don't see the difference. The flowers on the screen and the flowers in the vase to her side. I continue to talk as I stare vacantly at the two. Look at this. Look at these orchids or lilies. See, they're pure white, right? I had no interest, yet I kept trying to make conversation. But she resumed her silence soon enough, and with her usual lack of expression, she continued staring at the boring TV screen. And just when I turned back to the TV, resigned to the fact that I've get nothing more out of her.
Narcissus.
What?
Narcissus yo.
As she answered, she turned her face to me. She faced me for the first time. Her hip-length hair was swaying. She pointed at the TV screen and looked at me. The ID bracelet on her wrist was white. Her skin was white, just like the flowers on screen. And I swore I could see a tiny smile on that face that was looking at me for the first time. This is a good place to talk a little bit, right? Okay, so this is kind of cool. Like, I really like it. There's a dog barking outside, and I hate it because it's my grandma's dog. Whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna be like less serious here because it's like not usual, and my cell phone is vibrating because they're messaging me on WhatsApp, and I don't want to answer to them, but I'm gonna do it. So yeah, this is going pretty well, but I'm gonna continue right now so I don't kill the mood or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna mute this. Thank you. So yeah, let's start the silver cope. A few days later, plunging further into the depths of winter, during this time that the rest of the world called exam period, we were sitting watching TV, the same as ever. This is boring.
そうね。
This exchange that could not even be called a conversation. We've spent all our days in this fashion, killing time without meaning or purpose. Speaking of which, when is it for you?
今日よ。
I see. So it's today. That word, that today, was a temporary discharge that she alluded too early.
会えないかもね。
Yeah, I guess that's true. Because even if she were to be readmitted to 7F, that would be her last time. And in that time, I'd probably be discharged and readmitted myself. I didn't seem likely that things could be timed so that we could see each other again.
あなた、決まった？
About where I'm going to die? No, not yet.
そう。
She nodded somewhat sadly, the expression of someone being discharged from the second time. I still felt nothing about the situation, and I hadn't heard from the doctors about my first discharge. Come to think of it, I wonder if she finally decided what her own answer to the dilemma would be.
説明支度できたわよ。
A lady came up to us with these words. This was probably her mother. She nodded slightly at me. I did not rise.
じゃあ、そろそろ行くけど、用意はいい？うん。それでは失礼します。
She nodded slightly at me again and then turned to leave this place. She did stretch out her hand towards the girl, who was lately her daughter. But the girl did not move at all. She stayed rooted in her chair, even after her mother had grabbed her hand.
どうかしたの、節美。少し苦しい。え、苦しいってどこが？胸？お腹？胸。ちょっと待ってなさい。すぐに先生呼んでくるから。
She took off in visitor-used slippers in a sprint towards the nurse's station. There were but two things left in this place, her and me, both in chairs. I did not know a thing about her disease or its status. The only things that I knew were courtesy of her white ID bracelet. Her name was Satsumi, and her blood type was O. But we were inhabitants of 7F, and she was older than me, if just by a little. Hey, do you want to lie down over there until the doctors come? I pointed at the corner of the lounge, at the couch, at something that I have never seen used. I'll support your back after all. It'll support your back.
別に。もう平気よ。
Saying those words and nothing more, she stood up quickly. Hey, wait! Don't do anything foolish. But she was already halfway down the corridor before I could finish the sentence. Nightfall, after lights out. Bored of reading manga as usual, I wandered to the darkened hospital. The usual lounge, now pitch dark from the absence of light. That was where I found her. Hey, so you're still here? What's up? No feeling well again?
別に。
Was all she said as she stared at the window. So her discharge has been postponed after all. No one knew when the next chance, but it would probably be weeks from now, not days. Hey, could it be that you feigned illness today? No, that probably wasn't the right way to put it. See, you couldn't say that we weren't sick at the time. What I was saying is, you didn't want to leave the hospital, did you?
意味がわからないわよ。
Because there is no afterwards for you now. But there was no answer to my question in her silence. She had asked me so many times before about whether I wanted to die. And it had always been that I didn't know yet, and that she didn't want to die at her home or here on 7F. So you have no other place to go after all.
だったらどうなのよ。
No, nothing. This familiar lounge flooded in darkness. Her family stands looking out the window. Her familiar stands looking out the window without so much as acknowledging my existence. This place was called a hospital, and its extinguished light, in spite of the fact that it was only 11 p.m. or so. This was the tangent point between what was normal and what was not. On top of that, we were inhabitants of 7F, bereft of any choice save one: death of 7F or death at home. The outside world that she was staring at from the pitch black height of 7F, the normal world. The buildings and homes were still radiant with light as the street overflowed with people going home. And although my awareness of it was still vague, I was already an inhabitant of 7F, already an abnormal existence. There was no longer any way for me to go back to that other world. Was there now? My time is at a standstill. I'd spent so many seasons, so many wide overcast skies, without the want or need to converse with anybody. At first, I would look down at the healthy kids going to school and the people walking back and forth on the streets. And when I got tired of that, I always watched TV. Nothing else to do. Nothing else I could do. Even when there was snow outside the window, it was always bright and sunny inside the TV screen. A dream world stretching out before my eyes without heat, without cold, without pain. I sought comfort for my imagination, and so I amassed a huge knowledge base. Meaningless trivia upon meaningless trivia, over and over. And before I knew it, nothing that appeared on TV seemed real anymore. And in quick succession, it also happened to books, games, and then my family. Finally, I was unable to view myself as anything real, as if I was staring at scenes of another person's lives. That's why I was not surprised even when they transferred me to 7F. If I but closed my eyes, the world would always vanish. So I thought I'd be fine, and I did as I thought. As soon enough, my second discharge from the hospital. By the time of my next admission, I was probably too weak to stand by myself. I find my own self, the one who couldn't do anything even when she knew this, to be beautiful. I find my own self, the one who had no destination, to be ridiculous.
時間を止め、心を止め、胸に大きな傷跡を作り、それでも22年も生きてきたのに哀れだと思った。